So let's start the journey. What was the very first thing which got created in the ecosystem? VNet. VNet was network. Let's go here. Resource group. We have to create virtual network. Local name I'm keeping same as this. To be true, I'm not able to recall what are the necessary components or arguments in this. I can take help in validation. So how many components I need? Address space, location, resource group name, and name for the system. So to make this thing easy, the naming convention, I'm adding one variable with the name. And for me, I'm keeping the default value as Thinknyx. And how I can refer a variable var dot name. Now I would like to create a VNet. If I want to create a VNet in the ecosystem, what is the first question that I would be asked? It always be the subscription. We have already done that. The second question would always be the resource group. Which resource group? I will do the reference. This dot name and then location. Which location I would like to have it. Depending on my need. At present, I am keeping in a same location where I have my resource group created. So I can keep it as this dot location. The name. What would be the name? You can give any. I am keeping the same name, that is var dot name. Then address. You can keep any address, that is private range. I am keeping it 10.10.0.0 and this. Any servers configuration, they are not the mandatory. So I'm not getting into that. That's my VNet setup that I will be creating in that system. Let's save it. Let's do the validation. All good. Apply will by default do the validation and planning. So I can directly do the apply as well. But before that, I will go ahead with the FMT. FMT will streamline the way I have written the things. Earlier, they were distorted. This equal to was here, then here, and then here. Now it is on aligned. And now I can do apply. I'm not interested in typing the thing, so I can use auto approve. We already have a resource group, so it will just refresh and it is telling me that there would be one new stuff that would get created and it's completed. So that would create the network for you via Terraform that you would like to create. When we get into the network in the Azure, we will see the networking in detail and we will do the stuff via the user interface. At present, we are just doing what we have done yesterday via the simple interface. That's the change. So that's not a change, that's the addition that we have to do. And I have added this variable as well. That variable would help me out so that I don't have to write the things again and again. So do the same at my end. That would be quicker. Resource. What is the first thing that I need? Resource group. That would become Azure resource group dot name. Then I need in which network I would like to create it. That's the network. Then what else I need? Name. Let's say I'm keeping it default the way we have created yesterday. And then I need the address. That's a subset of what we have already added. In my case, it's 10.10. I'm treating it 10.10.10 or I will take it 86. That's my DOV if you want to remember. So that's the setup that I have. I'll go back. I prefer to do FMT. That will help me out to align my code for a better readability, nothing else. Apply, it will do nothing but create one simple setup for me. That is a subnet within my VNet that I have. Then we have created the another thing called as network interface. Network interface demands something. What is that? There are two things that network interface needs, the way we have done yesterday. It needs PIP, that is public IP, and private IP, right? So first thing first, we will create another resource, and that resource would be Azure RM, and that was, I think, public IP. Here, same setup. I can easily copy these two rather than typing them again and again. I need a static allocation or a dynamic allocation, which is the better option. In our case, at present, we are running with a base, so dynamic is good. Correct? What is SKU in case of AWS, oh, sorry, Azure? And what is the purpose? It's more like that you, for example, you're going to purchase a car, correct? So cars come up with different models, right?
Yep.
Base model, top model, mid variant, something like that. So same way, you have the options available in this. There are two options, basic and standard. I'm going ahead with basic for the learning purpose. Standard is only that we go ahead with, which will give you some different type of features or functionalities in terms of using or the capability of public IP. Basic IP would work for a decent setup. You need a global recognition. You can go ahead with the standard option, which is not available in the case of basic. So these kind of differences would be there in the storekeeping units that you have. Accordingly, you can select the option. And last but not the least is the name. What would be the name that I should go ahead with? I can keep the name same. That is var.name. It is still showing an error. That means something is missing. What's missing? Attribute name, location is needed. I missed the location. Let me put that. And I have put this extra because it's not needed. It's a location. Which location? I can keep this location. And it's all done as they are suggesting. So I can move it here so that it looks better. Go back, apply. I will go here, Thinknyx. Let the public IP comes up here. It's getting created. Done. Okay, that's the public IP. But I don't have any IP. Why? It's dynamic. So when it will get allocated at the time of client creation that we are going to create, which is the network interface. It's much easier in case of AWS, right? Azure, RM, and network interface, local name. Let's keep it same as this. Here, starting with the same, what all you need, I can copy two options that are already there. That network interface would be a part of which group, which location, and then name. Then comes the important part, IP configuration. What is the name for this network interface IP configuration that I would like to go ahead with? Let's say I'm copying and we can keep it. Let's keep it same name. Then it would get created for which subnet? In my case, Azure subnet this ID. Then how I would like to allocate the public IP. I'm keeping it dynamic. And then finally, what is the public IP address? So these are the configurations that I have. Let's save it. Let's apply. FMT will make it more readable by putting it in a proper format. Let this be done. Almost done. It's done. Let's go back to the resource groups. Thinknyx. We have this network interface, which has allocation. This is the IP which got allocated. This is the IP address which is coming from the public IP that we have created, which will get allocated at the time of VM creation. That is something that we are about to do. We haven't done that yet. We are about to do that. So let's get this particular thing added in your ecosystem. I think we have done up to here. So what we need a public private key. How we can do that? We have to create a virtual machine, but virtual machine demands either a password or a public private key, correct? Either of the things would be demanded. So how we can take it forward? Do we have any idea about something called as TLS provider? So basically there's another provider like Azure, AWS. That provider is being called as TLS provider. This provider would broadly help you out to manage your ecosystem of public private keys or the certificates that you generally have. It will help you out to generate public private key. By that a slip of tongue that I have. Correct. So that's the setup. So first thing first that we will do, we will create a public private key pair. For that, I need a provider. And to make it better, because it's not a part of my ecosystem, I can set it up as a separate file. And that provider I will call as, it's a simple TLS provider. Let me save this file first as tls.terraform provider, TLS provider. I'm not specifying any version. I'm going ahead with the latest version. And then I would like to generate the key pair. Resource, it's TLS private key. It will generate both key pair. It's asking you the algorithm that you would like to use, RSA or ED, and the bit. Let's keep it RSA 4096. So I'll save it. And quick FMT. And then I need init because it's a new provider. And then I will do apply. This apply will generate a key pair for me. It's almost done. And just to show you, this is the state file where we have all the data information available. This is the setup. With that, this is the key pair. This is the private key that we're going to leverage. That's a PEM format. And this is the public key that we have for the usage purpose, right? So that's the setup. Let's quickly get this added in your ecosystem. You have to do init because it's a new provider that we have just added. It's a new provider that we have leveraged. So you have to execute the init command before applying because it demands for the new provider plugin. There's a nice article to read. It's taking attraction these days. If you want to, I'm just sharing the link in your time. You can read it. It's about whether we should or moving away from cloud. Have a quick read. Now let's move to the VM creation. VM creation is the easiest task that we have in this system. We have almost done everything, but they have an interesting feature that they have a segregated resources for the Windows and Linux machines. I'm going ahead with the Linux. That is Azure RM Linux virtual machine, right? Started with the same portion, resource group, then location, then name as it's coming up as var name. Then comes the portion size. Yesterday, which size I have opted for? If you guys remember that, it will become, I think S is capital. That's the name. Then the next thing by default, if you remember yesterday also same thing has happened that by default in this ecosystem, you have that public private key option enabled. So if you want to use the password, then you have to put disable password authentication as false. That means you want password authentication. So you have to put it as false if you would like to go ahead with the default option. Does the statement make sense, everyone? At present, I'm not disabling that. I'm keeping it with the key. And then what user I would like to go ahead with, I'm keeping the user as Thinknyx. Though name is also same, user is also same. That's completely fine. Next, it is asking the interface ID. It doesn't look good that way, so I can keep it like this. It looks better now. Then now, because I have the username available, I need keys. This is fine, but here I don't have a file. So what I will do, public key. This is the public key that I will refer. Then what's the next thing? Give me the answers from the yesterday's setup. What was the next thing that we have done? Network interface was there in the later part, but that's okay. We have done the OS. I'm keeping it default. That is a standard disk, read write, and the disk size. I have never tried, but I'm tempting to try it. If I reduce the size, what would happen? And then last but not the least, what we need is a source image. Yes. Which image? Going ahead with the default canonical Ubuntu server, but I would change couple of things here. This one, I will take the reference because 18 is old one. So I can go here. I can take the reference for the Gemi. And for that, I have to go to Azure RM Linux virtual machine. I should have an example over here. Here is the example. So I'm copying this because to be true, I am not able to recall this particular name. So I'm just copying it for my ease. Let's set it up here. So we have publisher as Canonical. Canonical is a community or a body behind the Ubuntu as an operating system. We're going ahead with Ubuntu server Gemi. Gemi is the name version for 22 release of Ubuntu. And then you have this, that is LTS, that is long-term supported version for this. So these are the mandatory inputs that you have to provide. Let's save it. And FMT. And let's go ahead with apply. I hope we have created everything. So it should create the server now for us. I got an error. So that is error. So they are saying it's minimum 30 GB. That means we can't change in Azure. That was the try that I was trying out. Let's keep it 30. And let's apply. We'll create one server with information that we have. I can go and check it here. It's coming up, being started. Let's check. It's done. And it's completed here for us, right? And it got created. Perfect.